What if the life you want is not created by one huge decision, but by the tiny decisions you repeat every single day? Think about your morning. You wake up. You check your phone. You tell yourself you'll exercise later. You skip breakfast. You rush to work. And before the day has even begun, your habits have already started shaping your future. The scary part? Most habits don't feel important while you're doing them. One unhealthy meal doesn't destroy your health. One missed workout doesn't make you unfit. One wasted hour doesn't ruin your career. One unnecessary purchase doesn't destroy your finances. But here's the problem. Your life is not built from one decision. It's built from thousands of repeated decisions. Imagine a person who decides to read just 10 pages every night. 10 pages doesn't sound impressive. Nobody would call it a life-changing achievement. But imagine doing it for 1 year. That's thousands of pages, thousands of new ideas, hundreds of new lessons, and eventually, a completely different mind. Now imagine someone who spends those same 10 minutes every night scrolling through random videos. 10 minutes doesn't seem dangerous, but repeat it every night. And suddenly, months and years have disappeared. This is the hidden power of habits. They are small, but they are never neutral. Every repeated action is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Think about someone who wants to become physically fit. They don't need to transform their entire life tomorrow morning. They can start with one simple action. Put on their shoes. Walk for 10 minutes. Then do it again tomorrow. And again. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is repetition. Because motivation comes and goes. Some mornings you feel unstoppable. Other mornings, you don't want to get out of bed. That's normal. Successful people aren't successful because they always feel motivated. They're successful because they've built systems that continue working. Even when motivation disappears. Imagine two people starting a new career. The first person waits for inspiration. When they feel motivated, they work. When they don't, they stop. The second person creates a simple routine. Every morning at 8 o'clock, they spend 30 minutes learning, no matter how they feel. After 1 week, the difference is tiny. After 1 month, it's noticeable. After 1 year, it can completely change their lives. That's the power of consistency. And here's something even more powerful. You don't need to become a completely different person overnight. You simply need to become 1% better. 1 page, 1 workout, 1 healthy meal, 1 focused hour, 1 better decision. Repeat it again and again. Think about saving money. You don't have to become a millionaire this month. Start with a small automatic saving habit. Every payday, put a small amount aside before you spend anything. At first, it may feel insignificant, but you're doing something much more important than saving money. You're training your identity. You're telling yourself, I am someone who thinks about the future. And once that identity becomes stronger, your behavior starts changing naturally. This is why habits are so powerful. They don't just change what you do. They change who you believe you are. A person who exercises regularly begins to see themselves as healthy. A person who reads every day begins to see themselves as a learner. A person who saves consistently begins to see themselves as financially responsible. And once your identity changes, your actions begin to follow it. So don't ask yourself, how can I completely change my life tomorrow? Ask a better question. What is one small thing I can repeat every day? Because your future isn't waiting for one giant breakthrough. It's being built quietly, right now, with every choice, every routine, every repeated action. And one day, you may look back and realize something extraordinary. The tiny habits you almost ignored were the habits that changed everything. You don't need to transform your entire life in one morning. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need unlimited motivation. You simply need a direction and one small action you can repeat. Think about a person who wants to become healthier. They don't begin by changing everything. They simply drink more water. Then they take a short walk. Then they choose one healthier meal. Then they repeat those actions tomorrow. Each decision seems almost meaningless, but together, they create momentum, and momentum changes everything. The same principle applies to learning. You don't need to read an entire library. Read one page today, then another tomorrow. Eventually, reading becomes part of your daily life. The same applies to your career. You don't need to become an expert overnight. Learn one useful skill. Practice it. Improve it. Then practice again. Over time, small improvements become valuable abilities. And those abilities can create opportunities you couldn't see before. This is why you should never underestimate a small habit. A tiny action, repeated consistently, can become a remarkable result. Your habits are like invisible votes. Every morning, you are voting for the person you will become. When you exercise, you vote for health. When you read, you vote for knowledge. When you save, you vote for financial freedom. When you work on your goals, you vote for your future. One vote doesn't define you, but thousands of votes create a pattern. And that pattern eventually becomes your identity. So don't focus only on the size of the result. Focus on the quality of the action you repeat, because your future self is being built by the choices you make today. Start small, make it simple, repeat it, and give it time. Because real transformation rarely happens in one dramatic moment. It happens quietly. One ordinary day after another. One small habit after another. Until one day, your life looks completely different. And you realize the change didn't begin with a massive decision. It began with one tiny habit, one small action, one ordinary day, when you decided to become just a little better. And that is where transformation begins. What if the reason you keep failing at a good habit isn't because you're weak? What if your environment is simply making the wrong choice? Too easy. Look around your room. Your phone is sitting beside you. Your favorite snacks are in the kitchen. Your television is ready with one click. And your laptop has dozens of distractions waiting for you. Now imagine telling yourself, "Today I'm going to be extremely disciplined." You work for an hour. Then your phone lights up. One notification. You check it. Just for a second. 5 minutes later, you're scrolling. 20 minutes later, you're still there. You didn't suddenly become lazy. Your environment simply made distraction incredibly easy. And this is one of the most powerful lessons about habits. What surrounds you influences what you repeatedly do. Imagine you want to read more books. But every night, your television is directly in front of you. Your phone is beside your pillow. And your book is hidden inside a drawer. Then you ask yourself, why can't I develop a reading habit? The answer may not be your motivation. It's your environment. So change the environment. Put the book on your pillow. Place it on your desk. Keep it where you can see it. Now the habit becomes easier. And there's another powerful trick. Make bad habits harder. If social media is stealing your time, Move the apps away from your home screen. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Put your phone in another room while you're working. You haven't changed your personality. You've changed the environment around your behavior. And suddenly, discipline becomes easier. Think about your kitchen. If your counter is filled with cookies, chips, and sugary drinks, you'll probably eat them more often. But if your kitchen is filled with fruit, water, nuts, and healthy food, your decisions become easier. You don't need to fight yourself every 5 minutes. Your environment is helping you. Now think about your morning routine. Imagine waking up and immediately seeing your phone. You pick it up. You check messages, then social media, then emails, then news. Before you realize it, 30 minutes are gone. Now imagine a different morning. Your phone stays across the room. Your water bottle is waiting beside your bed. Your workout clothes are already prepared. Your notebook is open on your desk. You wake up, drink water, get dressed, write your goals, and start your day. Same person, same brain, completely different environment, completely different behavior. This is why successful people don't depend entirely on willpower. They design their surroundings. They make good habits visible and bad habits inconvenient. Think about a student preparing for an important exam. If the phone is beside them, they will constantly fight the temptation to check it. But if the phone is in another room, the temptation becomes weaker. The student hasn't become more disciplined. They simply remove the distraction. That's a huge difference. Now let's bring this into your professional life. Suppose you want to write every morning. Don't wait until you're inspired. Prepare everything the night before. Laptop ready. Notebook open. Water beside you. Desk clean. Writing software already open. When morning arrives, there are fewer decisions to make. And fewer decisions mean less resistance. This is how small systems create big results. Your environment can become your silent coach. A clean workspace tells your brain, focus. Running shoes beside the door say, move. A book on your desk says, learn. A phone beside your pillow says, scroll. Your surroundings are constantly giving your brain instructions. So ask yourself today, what does my environment encourage me to become? Does it encourage focus, health, learning, saving, growth? Or does it encourage distraction, comfort, impulse, procrastination? You don't always need more motivation. Sometimes, you simply need a better environment. Because sometimes, the easiest way to change yourself is to change your surroundings. You don't always need stronger willpower. You need fewer obstacles between you and the behavior you want. If you want to exercise, keep your workout clothes ready the night before. If you want to read, keep your book where you can see it. If you want to drink more water, keep a bottle on your desk. If you want to save money, automate your savings before you have a chance to spend it. These small changes may look insignificant, but they remove friction. And when a good habit becomes easier, you're more likely to repeat it. Now think about the opposite. If you want to stop wasting time on your phone, don't keep it beside you while you're working. Put it somewhere inconvenient. If you want to stop eating unhealthy snacks, don't keep them within easy reach. If you want to stop staying awake late, don't take your phone to bed. You're not trying to become a different person. You're simply changing the path your behavior follows. Imagine walking through a city. If one road is wide, bright, and easy to follow, you'll naturally take it. If another road is blocked, dark, and difficult, you'll probably avoid it. Your habits work in much the same way. Your environment creates paths. The easier path is usually the one your brain chooses. So make your desired habits the easy path, and make your unwanted habits the difficult path. This is especially powerful when you're tired, stressed, or distracted, because those are the moments when willpower is weakest. A well-designed environment keeps working, even when you don't feel like working. That's why changing your surroundings can be more powerful than simply telling yourself, "I need to have more discipline." Discipline matters, but design matters too. The right environment can make discipline easier, and the wrong environment can make even a strong person struggle. So take a look around you today. Look at your bedroom, your desk, your kitchen, your phone, your workplace. Ask yourself, what behaviors is this environment encouraging? Then make one small change. Move one distraction. Prepare one useful tool. Remove one temptation. Make one good habit easier. That tiny environmental change could become the beginning of a much bigger transformation. Because your surroundings are not just where you live. They are constantly shaping who you become. What if the secret to building a powerful habit isn't forcing yourself to do something you hate? What if the secret is learning how to make the habit feel good? Think about it. Your brain naturally searches for rewards. You eat something delicious. You feel good. You check your phone. You see a notification. You feel a tiny burst of excitement. You finish a difficult task. You feel proud. Your brain remembers these feelings, and it wants to experience them again. That's why habits become powerful when they are connected to a reward. Imagine someone who wants to start exercising. They tell themselves, "I have to work out for 1 hour every day." That sounds exhausting. After a few days, they start making excuses. But imagine changing the approach. Instead of focusing on 1 hour, start with 10 minutes. Put on your favorite music. Wear comfortable clothes. Go for a short walk. And after finishing, give yourself a small reward. Maybe a relaxing shower. Maybe your favorite healthy drink. Maybe 10 minutes of your favorite podcast. Suddenly, exercise doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like something positive. And that's important. Because the goal isn't to make yourself suffer. The goal is to teach your brain, "This behavior makes me feel good." Now imagine someone trying to read more. They decide, "I'll read 50 pages every night." That's a huge commitment. Instead, start with 5 pages. Choose a fascinating book. Sit somewhere comfortable. Make a cup of coffee. Turn off your notifications. Create a small ritual. 5 pages become 10. 10 become 20. And eventually, reading becomes part of your identity. You no longer need to force yourself. You simply do it. Now think about saving money. Saving can feel boring. You earn money, and instead of spending it, you put some of it away. There is no immediate excitement. So create your own reward. Every time you save, watch your savings number grow. Set a financial milestone. Celebrate reaching it without destroying your progress. For example, your first $1,000, then $5,000, then $10,000. Each milestone becomes evidence that you're becoming financially stronger. And here's something powerful. Your brain loves visible progress. That's why checklists work. That's why calendars work. That's why progress bars work. When you can see yourself moving forward, you want to continue. Imagine a person learning a new skill. They practice for 30 minutes every day. At first, they're terrible. The results are frustrating. but they record every session. Day 1, Day 2, Day 3, Day 10, Day 30. Then one morning, they look back and realize they're no longer the same person who started. That feeling becomes the reward. Progress creates motivation. Motivation creates consistency. Consistency creates results. And results strengthen the habit. But there's another important lesson. Don't demand perfection from yourself. You will miss a workout. You will eat unhealthy food. You will waste an evening. You will sometimes procrastinate. That's life. The danger isn't making one mistake. The danger is turning one mistake into a new pattern. Miss one workout, get back tomorrow. Waste one evening, make the next morning productive. Spend too much money, learn from it, and continue. Never let one bad day become 2 bad days, because one mistake is an event. Repeated mistakes become a habit, and repeated habits become a lifestyle. So stop asking, how can I completely transform my life? Ask, how can I make the next right action easier and more satisfying? That's a much better question. Because transformation doesn't happen when you suddenly become perfect. It happens when good actions become normal. One workout, one page, one healthy meal, one focused hour, one smart financial decision, again, and again, and again, until the behavior becomes automatic, until discipline becomes identity, until the person you wanted to become starts becoming the person you are. And remember, you don't need to reward yourself with something expensive. Sometimes the reward is simply seeing your progress. A completed checklist, a longer streak, a healthier body, a growing savings account, a new skill, a finished book. These small victories tell your brain, keep going. And that's how consistency becomes easier. You begin with something small. You repeat it. You see progress. Progress makes you feel good. Feeling good makes you want to repeat the behavior. And the cycle becomes stronger. This is how ordinary actions can create extraordinary results. You don't need to win every day. You simply need to keep moving in the right direction. If you miss once, return. If you fail, learn. If you lose motivation, make the habit smaller. Never allow one imperfect day to convince you that you failed completely. Your goal isn't perfection. Your goal is becoming the kind of person who keeps coming back. Because eventually, the habit becomes part of your life. You don't force yourself to read. You become a reader. You don't force yourself to exercise. You become someone who values health. You don't force yourself to save. You become financially responsible. And that is when a habit becomes truly powerful. It stops being something you have to do and becomes something you naturally do. So make the process rewarding. Celebrate small progress. Track your improvements. And keep showing up. Because the person you become tomorrow is being shaped by what you repeat today. Small actions, small rewards, small improvements, repeated over time, can create a life that looks completely different. And sometimes, the biggest transformation begins with the smallest decision. What if the biggest mistake you're making with your habits is focusing on what you want to achieve instead of focusing on who you want to become? Think about it. Someone says, I want to lose weight. Another person says, I want to become a healthy person. They sound similar, but psychologically, they're completely different. The first person is chasing a result. The second person is building an identity. An identity is powerful because your actions naturally follow the person you believe you are. Imagine someone who says, I don't read books. Every time they see a book, their brain already has an answer. That's not me. Now imagine that same person starts reading just 2 pages every night. 2 pages isn't impressive. But after a few weeks, something changes. They start thinking, maybe I am becoming someone who reads. That small belief changes their behavior. And once the behavior repeats, the identity becomes stronger. This works in every area of life. You don't have to say, I need to become a millionaire. Start with, I am becoming financially responsible. You don't need to say, I need to become extremely fit. Start with, I am someone who takes care of my body. You don't need to say, I need to become successful. Start with, I am someone who keeps promises to myself. These statements may sound simple, but they change the way you make decisions. Imagine you're at a restaurant. You see a huge dessert menu. If you think, I'm trying to diet, you are negotiating with yourself. But if you think, I'm a healthy person, the decision becomes easier. You aren't giving something up. You're simply acting like the person you believe you are. That's the difference between goals and identity. Goals tell you where you want to go. Identity tells you who you want to become. And here's something fascinating. Every action you take is like casting a vote for your future identity. When you exercise, you're voting for being healthy. When you read, you're voting for being knowledgeable. When you save money, you're voting for being financially responsible. When you keep working, even when nobody is watching, you're voting for being disciplined. One vote doesn't change everything, but thousands of votes create a clear identity. Think about a professional athlete. They don't become great because they train once. They train thousands of times. Every training session reinforces, I am an athlete. Eventually, training isn't something they have to think about. It's simply part of who they are. Now apply that idea to your own life. If you want to become a writer, don't wait until you write a best-selling book. Write 1 paragraph today. If you want to become an investor, don't wait until you have thousands of dollars. Start learning. If you want to become confident, don't wait until fear disappears. Do one uncomfortable thing today. Your identity grows through action, not imagination. And this is where many people fail. They want to feel like a successful person before doing the things successful people do. But it works the other way around. You act first, your identity follows. Then your identity strengthens your actions. It's a cycle. Action creates evidence. Evidence creates belief. Belief creates identity. Identity influences behavior. And behavior creates your future. So don't wait to become the perfect version of yourself. Start proving to yourself that you can become that person. Every morning, ask yourself, what would the person I want to become do right now? Would they scroll for another hour? Would they waste their money? Would they keep postponing their goals? Or would they take one small step? You don't need to know exactly where your life will be 10 years from now. You only need to know what the next version of you would do today. Because your future self is being created by your present actions. One decision at a time. One habit at a time. One day at a time. And eventually, the things that once required discipline will become natural. You'll stop saying, I need to become disciplined. You'll simply become a disciplined person. You'll stop saying, I need to save money. You'll become someone who naturally protects their future. You'll stop saying, I need to read. You'll become a lifelong learner. That's when habits become truly powerful. When they stop feeling like something you're doing and start feeling like who you are. So don't just change your habits. Change the story you tell yourself about who you are. Because when your identity changes, your habits follow. And when your habits change, your life follows. You don't need to become a new person overnight. You simply need to prove, through small actions, that you are becoming the person you want to be. And every small action matters. Every morning, every choice, every repetition. Because eventually, your habits won't just change your routine. They will change your identity. And your identity can change your entire life. What happens when motivation disappears? Because it will. There will be mornings when you don't want to exercise, days when you don't want to study, evenings when you don't want to work on your goals, and moments when spending money feels much easier than saving it. So what keeps you moving forward? When motivation is gone, the answer is simple: a system. Successful people don't depend on feeling motivated every day. They create route. This principle works with money too. Imagine receiving your salary. If you wait until the end of the month to see what's left, there may be nothing left. But if a percentage automatically moves into savings the moment your salary arrives, you don't have to rely on willpower. Your system protects your future before temptation gets a chance. This is one of the most powerful ideas you can apply to your life. Make good decisions automatic. Don't constantly fight your environment. Design it. Don't constantly fight temptation. Reduce it. Don't constantly wait for motivation. Create routines. And don't expect perfection. Expect progress. Because even the best system will sometimes fail. You will get sick. You will travel. You will have stressful days. You will miss routines. That's okay. The goal isn't to never fall off track. The goal is to return quickly. Think about someone walking across a long bridge. They don't need to take perfect steps. They simply need to keep moving toward the other side. Your habits work the same way. One bad day doesn't destroy your progress. One missed workout doesn't erase your fitness. One unnecessary purchase doesn't destroy your financial future. What matters is what you do next. This is why you should never allow one mistake to become your identity. Don't say, I'm lazy. Say, I had a bad day. Don't say, I'm terrible with money. Say, I made a poor financial decision. Your behavior is something you can change. Your identity is not a prison. You can rewrite it. Every new decision is another opportunity to vote for the person you want to become. So when you fall off track, don't quit. Return. Start again. Take the next small step. Because consistency doesn't mean never failing. Consistency means coming back. Your goal isn't to build a perfect life overnight. It's to create a life where small improvements happen consistently. 1% better. One day at a time. One decision at a time. One habit at a time. Eventually, those small improvements begin to compound. Your health improves. Your confidence improves. Your knowledge improves. Your finances improve. Your relationships improve. And one day, you realize that your life has changed dramatically. Not because of one extraordinary moment, but because of thousands of ordinary moments that you handled a little better. So here's your challenge. Don't try to change everything tomorrow. Choose one habit. Just one. Make it small. Make it obvious. Make it easy. Make it satisfying. Then repeat it. Tomorrow. Repeat it again. And the next day, again. Give yourself enough time for the habit to become part of who you are. Because your future isn't created by what you intend to do. It's created by what you repeatedly do. Your habits are shaping your identity. Your identity is shaping your decisions. And your decisions are shaping your future. So start small. Start today. Start with something so easy that you have no excuse not to do it. Because the smallest habit can become the beginning of the biggest transformation. And remember this, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Build better systems, and you'll build a better life. Thank you for watching Cognitive Vibes. If this video gave you even one idea that can improve your life, don't just listen to it. Use it. Start with one small habit today, because someday you'll look back and realize that tiny habit was the beginning of everything.